Hi, this is Mike Regan with Transact's 2-minute warning for the week of November 24th. And in this week's 2-minute warning, we have a really important question. Is your supply chain an asset or a liability? And stay tuned, because at the end of this 2-minute warning, we've got a special Thanksgiving recipe for you that you're going to love. Over the years, one of my favorite talks that I love to give to C-level executives is called "Is Your Supply Chain an Asset or Liability?" Since 2020, I've probably given it to 5,000 C-level executives. And in it, I ask people to stand up if they think their supply chain is really important. Everyone stands up. I challenge them, only stay standing if it's really important. Everyone stays standing. And I said, okay, we're going to take a quick quiz here. On the supply chain spectrum, where 1 is awful, 5 is world class, where do you rank your supply chain? 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5? 3 is good, 4 is above average, 2 is below average. Would you believe it, that when I tell people that they have to sit down if their supply chain isn't rated above, not a 3, but above a 3, about 85 to 90% of the people sit down. How could that be? They just told me their supply chains were really, really important, and yet they're willing to live with supply chains that are average or mediocre. Now, the reason for that we addressed in a conversation that I had with my good buddy Adrian Gonzalez. He runs Talking Logistics, called me up and asked me if we could do an interview to address that topic. And one of the things that we talked about, which is why this is going to be just the first part in a multi-part series on answering that supply chain as an asset and liability, is because a lot of executives are in denial about how good their supply chains really are. And the reason it's okay to be in denial, because all their other competitors may have a mediocre supply chain. But a couple years ago, I interviewed Jeff Wilke, who at the time was the number 2 person for Amazon before he stepped down ahead of Jeff Bezos' retirement. And in that webcast, he highlighted the fact that Amazon saw their supply chain as something that they could use to beat their competitors. If they could create a supply chain that enabled them to do certain things at a lower cost than their competitors, they could dominate the market, and they have. And that puts it back to you. How good is your supply chain? Now, there are some things that companies can do to improve their supply chains, to make the right kind of investments. Oftentimes, it starts with one of the things like Transact's supply chain assessment, where we go in and get everyone together from sales, procurement, ops, IT, finance, to take a look at how the supply chains impact in their respective areas. Instead of a siloed approach, we get a holistic approach showing where we're at today, where we could be tomorrow, and what kind of investments are going to be able to happen or have to happen in order for that to occur. Now, if you're interested in learning more about that supply chain assessment, all you got to do is send me an email or give us a call. You can be on the journey to having a better supply chain and beating your competitors instead of worrying about them beating you. Now, before we close, I was at my grandson's holiday party, and they gave out a cookbook where the kids gave advice. Here's my grandson's advice on how you can create and cook a better turkey. Don't cook the turkey. Go to grandma's house. The turkey will already be cooking, and she talks about when it's done, it'll be kind of light, cool off, eat it. But when you're done eating, clean the pans, throw away the tin foil. Grandma will have an extra fridge for dessert. Open it and get an ice cream sandwich or orange Italian ice or sour popsicles like Bomb Pops. With that thought in mind, have a great Thanksgiving from your friends here at Transact. Thank you.